Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, your child librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to look at an interesting little poetry book by T.S Eliot. So this is Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. So it came out in 1939, right around the time the start of World War II. It's a very light, very whimsical book written primarily for Eliot's godchildren, not grandchildren. Old Possum was what he signed his letters to them from, so that's what he referred to himself as when he wrote to his godchildren. So it's light, it's fun. I'll mentally go to the Wikipedia page here and read off the poems here. So these are the poems that you're going to find in it. So you have the naming of cats, various different names. This has to do with the psychology and sociology of cat society. So you have the naming of cats. You have the old Gimpy cat, also known as Jenny Anydots. Growl Tiger's Last Stand, the Rum Tum Tugger, the Song of the, I'm going to mispronounce this, Jewelishals, mispronouncing that, Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, Old Deariotomy, of the Awful Battle of Peaks and Polylishals, together with some account of the participation of pugs and poms and the intervention of the great Rumpus cat, Mr. Mistopheles, McCavity the mystery cat, Gus the theater cat, Bustopher Jones the cat about town, Scrambleshanks the railway cat, the addressing of cats, and Cat Morgan introduces himself. This was added in 1952. So it's fun, it's light. It's a very kind of easy read. If your kids are into animals, specifically cats, this is a good book to introduce poetry to them. Again, it's written to be fun. It's written to be whimsical. It's some great T.S. Eliot poetry if you're into that. I'm not actually as familiar with it. This is the first time I think I've read T.S. Eliot's poetry. So it's fun. It can be read by anybody of any age. And enjoyed, particularly if you're introducing poetry for parents doing homeschooling. This is a great book to introduce poetry to your children if you're looking for something fun and light and they're very interested in cats. So that is, and there's not much else to say about this book. It's light, it's funny, it's very bizarre. One of them has to do with a cat lazing about all day and then training mice to do various things and try to civilize them. It's very weird. That's one of the weird things. They can be violent, from what I know. McCavity the mystery cat is literally about a poem about a cat who used to be a massive, the mad cat who makes things disappear and is a bit of a thief. So, bad boy cat. Gus the theater cat was in theater. He was a great actor, supposedly. He's now old, and he's bringing people in and teaching all sorts of other cats. Scrumbleshanks the railway cat is a cat that they wait on in order to, he basically manages the mice on some of the trains. Then you have various other things. Rum Tum Tugger, another slightly fat cat. Growl Tiger's Last Stand is literally about a cat who is bad and I believe he ends up dying. The old Gimpy cat is the one where you're talking about cat introducing civilization to mice. Bustopher Jones is definitely about a very fat cat who's just kind of feeding everywhere. So they're fun, they're whimsical, they're light. Again, written in 1939 with the expression of T.S. Eliot writing to his godchildren. So why am I covering this? Besides, it's a very interesting, I'm a cat person, and a very interesting book of poems. Well, if you're familiar with Broadway, you're probably wondering, well, this sounds familiar, and you're not wrong. So, Andrew Lloyd Webber's 1981 musical Cats is based on this book, which is the reason it makes no sense. So, if you ever been to Cats, and it's very entertaining, but if you kind of read it as a play, you read the script, it's literally a bunch of cats introducing themselves, and this is why. It's literally Andrew Lloyd Webber took his love of this book of practical cats and turned it into a musical. So it makes no sense. The only couple differences are you have memory, and like speaking of cats here, introduction of Calico. This is Kendra. She's 12. She is irritating. I can get her over the mic here. And she is, obviously, we are cat people. She's decided to join me. She is mine. I've had her since I was a Peace Corps volunteer. She's from Romania. And she's our very old Calico. Again, she's 12 as of this filming. So, sweet girl. So, memory, as I was getting back to this, actually comes from Rhapsody on a Windy Night by T.S. Eliot. So, and then they mess around with it a little bit. And this is to give the play something. This is sung by, where is it? Grisabella, which is the glamour cat, which is obviously not in the poetry book. So it's to add something to it. I'll do a quick look at most of the songs are in there. And I will cover this. I have not seen it in full. I'm aware of it. I think I was aware of it when it came out, or at least when it was running around on Broadway, because I was born in '84. I was a cat person. So it looks entertaining. I'm going to try to have a look on some of the videos of it. It's very, very interesting. A lot of people have done a better recommendation of this. But back to the book. Again, this is not going to be a very long video. If you're looking to introduce poetry to your cat-loving children, this is a great thing to do. If you just want to read something at night and you have an interest in the poetry, you can read one of these poems or some of these poems at night, putting your kids to bed. They're fun, they're relaxing, they're a little weird, they're very quirky, and they're very entertaining. It's slightly bizarre, but they're classical. Again, they came out in 1939. T.S. Eliot poems, really fun. Really, again, they're very, very bizarre, which is going to be interesting when I finally get around to watching the play or the Broadway musical. It did well for it did well for a reason. The songs are catchy. No, I'm not watching the film. We're not going there. It's bad, and it's sad that it's bad because it has some really big names in it. And it's a shame that people like Damn Judi Dench are in something as horrific as that. And Lloyd Webber really should not be adapting his Broadway musicals to films. It doesn't work. But that's an entirely different video, and I will link when I do that, I will link better people who are better at examining Broadway than somebody who has never seen a Broadway play, or Broadway musical, or anything in theater, live in theater. So, that is it for this very, very short review. Highly recommend the book. It's entertaining. It's light. Any age, though I don't know if 3-year-olds would get much out of it, but still, they probably find it very, very funny. And particularly since they have illustrated editions. I didn't get an illustrated edition, though I think there were some sketches in the one that I read. So, they're fun. They're light. Highly recommend them. I'm a cat person, evidence, so there was a cat in my lap, but anyone who is an animal lover will enjoy this poetry book. My toddler has been cranky today. My brain isn't entirely working. So that is it for this review. If you like what you see, do look forward to the musical, which I think I'm going to have come out on a Wednesday because it's not a film, it's a Broadway musical. So, as well as a bunch of my other reviews, check out what I've got. Mostly I do children's books and family films. That's the core of the channel right now. I do a sprinkling of travel stuff. I do a little bit more education stuff. We are secular homeschoolers, so I cover that as my child we'll cover more of that as my kid gets over. Right now, as of this video, which is being filmed in August of 2021, she's 2. So we're not quite getting into education stuff yet. Hopefully once she turns 3, we'll get more into that, and I'll review it as I go along. But otherwise, check out what I've got. Look forward to more. Thank you.